The year of 1981 is quite possibly the best in pinball history. All four companies were in a tight heat to make the best pinball games humanly possible. Bally with Centaur, Medusa, Electra, and Fathom. Williams with Pharaoh, Jungle Lord, and Solar Ride. Gottlieb with Mars, God of War, Black Hole, and Volcano. And Stern with Lightning, Viper, and Catacomb. But once the dust settled and the year was done, the year 1982 brought ravage all over the pinball scene. Thanks to the advent of coin-op games like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, pinball became a dead zone. Williams had Cosmic Gunfight, but it didn't sell a lot. Gottlieb had Rocky, but its wonky gameplay turned people away. Stern only released 2 more machines before they hit the pits, Iron Maiden and Dragon Fist, but both also sold poorly. The only company left to release something was Bally. One of their main contributions to the year 1982 became one of the most polarizing pinball machines ever played. That machine is Vector. Bally was high on Vector like with all of their machines, but this one felt a lot different. A more complex rule set, an unconventional theme, its weird noises and callouts. Fans quickly turned on Vector, and as a result, compared to the quality of Bally's past, it absolutely sank. Almost 40 years later, pinball players make their hatred of Vector known. It was never subtle how much the community was not the fondest of Vector when it came out, or even in the years since. So why the hate for it? What makes Vector so hated by some and respected by others? The designer for this machine is someone who isn't brought up very often in pinball lore. Greg Kamek, who is responsible for some of the biggest games of the 70s, Bobby Orr's Power Play, Paragon, Supersonic, and Harlem Globetrotters. The final machine he ever worked on was Break Shot, released by Capcom in 1996. The backlash and playfield art was done by Greg Fears, who do work on some of the biggest and the best cabs in the industry. The backlash is actually one of the stronger parts of the game. The oddity of seeing this in your local arcade back in the day or just in someone's garage now is peak. This reminds me very much of Tron, which came out the year before, ironically. Some people have hot dogs for hands, while others have lacrosse rackets for hands instead. This guy has a vibrator for a hand. Everybody else has weird floppy metal things. And what's with the helmets? Are they on a planet filled with toxic gases? Or do they just want to catch glowing orbs of 80s lasers without getting their eyeballs popped off? And how the hell can these dudes balance with one disc on each foot? At least you have a sunset and some sexy 80s grid to outset its plain weirdness. And apparently, they're jumping out of a TV set to top it all off? This must take place in the future because I have no idea what the fuck this means. The playfield is very reminiscent of Bally's games of that era, but a few things seem to stick out. Like some of the more recent Williams games, the game features dual playfields. The bikers dominate the bottom half of the playfield, including this guy who seems like he's transcended all humanity and went straight to the heavens. This dude is trying to catch what this guy threw, and to top it all off, there's the Vector Dome, apparently where this whole schmoz all takes place. On the top half, it's this metal man surrounded by 3 different ramps, with his head near a gaggle of drop targets. I'm getting a little bit of Daft Punk vibes from this. I gotta admit, this art is quite nice, on both the playfield and the backglass. The side art's nice too, that's true 80s. Now here's where the game begins to go south. The sound and callouts are hit and miss. Some are nice, like the one that plays when you start the game.
I am a PAC, Play Analysis Computer, for your Vector game plan.
And the one that plays when you end the game.
Hit the showers.
But some are just tedious. Mostly when the announcer is going through the letters on the drop targets.
E, P, Y, H.
And when he's hyping up that kooky vector scan value.
Vector scan value.
The ambience is one of Bally's worst. Before the advent of music and pinball games, companies filled the hole with cool-ass ambience that sounds like the 80s. This game kinda has the annoying side of this. It sounds a bit lifeless, kinda dull. Definitely a step down from earlier Bally's for sure. I will give it 1 brownie point for its high amount of speech. For a Bally game in the early 80s, it's something you don't really expect. It's been said that the rules to Vector are complex. and you'd be correct. How they're complex, though, is a whole new story unto itself. Your main goal is to hit the vector scan ramp on the left side of the playfield. Blocking your way are 6 different defender drop targets. If you hit the ramp before knocking all the targets down, you'll get a quick bonus for how fast the ball traveled, but then the ball is knocked into the upper right flipper on the top of the playfield. If all the targets are dropped, the ramp lights, and when you hit it this time, you get a ball locked. Do the same sequence 2 more times over, and now you've achieved multi-ball. These 4 drop targets spell hype. You have to hit these 4 targets in order, H-Y-P-E, in order to light the bonus lights near the flippers and increase the multiplier. When hit out of order, the targets only light 1 bonus light. The defender targets in front of the ramp and the targets on the top of the playfield must be hit in order. It doesn't matter which order they're hit in, right to left or left to right. If you hit the targets at the top of the playfield in order, you knock down a defender target. If you hit the defender targets in order from right to left or left to right, you could go for multi-ball early, the ramp becomes lit. If not, 3 more targets pop up, and after you hit those, you're safe to hit the ramp. The ramp is marked with a timer, so hitting it has to be your top priority. The vector scan bonus is calculated in this box in the middle of the playfield, along with your flip speed, which is calculated when you get the ball on the ramp. If it's faster than what's displayed, you get a replay. In pinball terms, that means 1 extra ball. I'm not making it very subtle. This might be one of the toughest games I've ever played. It's extremely hard to hit every target and drop target in order on the playfield. Many of the shots come up as bricks if you don't have good enough aim, and even just maneuvering is a bitch. If you're an experienced pinball player that wants some challenge, I highly recommend it. However, if you're a person who's just getting into the craft or someone who's a casual player, I'd stay far away from Vector. It's a nicely designed machine, certainly not the best, but it holds its weight well. It's a slow burner though. For most people, it takes a while to really enjoy it. I'm one of those people, so maybe one of these days, I'll finally see the full potential of what Vector has to offer.